Hey y'all, welcome back. Another episode with me, Mary, and Candace.
Welcome back, guys.
And today we have a special guest, Monique Ruiz. She is an author.
Nope.
What is it? Lord. Don't do me, Candace. Don't do me. Listen, y'all know I'm good for butchering names, so charge it to my heart and not charge it to my head, not my heart, okay? Monique R. A military spouse and author. Is there any other title that you want to add to that, Monique?
Well, I wear many hats, so it'd probably be easier to ask, What else don't I do?
All right. Okay, coming strong. Right. I like that.
Yeah.
I know. Well, before we get deeper into, your background and everything that you have going on, we do have some little small icebreaker questions if you're open to that. So the all-time argument on your grits, is it sugar or is it salt?
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and say, for me personally, it's definitely a maturity thing or a thing that goes with age. When I was younger, when I was a kid, it was definitely all about the sugar. Now that I'm an adult, I can't see eating them with sugar. It's got to be salt and pepper and butter for me. So
got you.
Okay.
So basically, you just told me I'm still a kid because I got.
Listen, my grandma was just visiting and I made her fix great and there was sugar in it. Because I said, Grandma, make it how you did when I was young.
There you go.
Look, my family, they always get on me. That's one that they like, I just don't understand. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. So obviously you're a writer. So do you have any favorite authors?
Oh, man. You know what? It might sound weird to say that I don't really. I think it changes every time I find a new book or a new author. I'd never lose the one that I liked before that, but I'm definitely like, oh man, I got to read so-and-so's, all so-and-so's books now because I read this one and now I want to read all of them. I just love to read in general. So.
Good for you. So that's on my, one of my things to do, like to read more. Me and Mary been reading a lot more this year. So that's our goal to be pushing more books. Yeah. To make that effort. So cool. So back to the food. Does pineapple belong on pizza?
It absolutely does.
Hey! Told you, Candace. Told you.
I understand the argument. I totally get it. It's a contrast, but I believe that sometimes just with life, you got to have that contrast. I mean, every other pizza topping is the same as far as, the saltiness goes.
Right.
You gotta have a little bit of sweet every now and then, and the pineapple brings that, I think. Now, I will say I believe pineapple is probably the only fruit that belongs on pizza. We're not going to start doing apples and cranberries. It's not a gateway fruit. It needs to stop at pineapple. Pineapple is the exception. But yes.
Okay. And see, like I've had it before. It's it's all right. It's all right. Okay. So I don't know your age, but I'm about to just kind of guess it. I need to know, whose side were you on between Monica and Brandy when it came to the boys' mind?
Definitely Brandy.
Really?
Yeah. Definitely Brandy.
Okay. That actually surprised me. I thought it was gonna be Monica. That's what I was. Mary, you got one?
Listen, I be on both sides. I be on both sides.
All right. So for the last one, give me one habit that you wish you could quit.
Oh man, it would have to be procrastination.
I take that too.
I think if you can quit procrastination, you can probably, the sky would absolutely be the limit for everything else.
Ooh,
I like that.
Getting a lot of stuff done. So that's all I got for you. So I guess now we want to learn a little bit more about you, what you have going on, your background. If you just give us your story.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I recently came up on my 16-year wedding anniversary. I've been married for 16 years, y'all.
Wow, congratulations. Congrats.
Thank you. My husband and I, we are high school sweethearts. We graduated high school in 2005, and then immediately after we got married and then joined the Army together. Basic training was our honeymoon. So that's that. So that makes me a veteran. He's still in. I'm out though. Dual military was kind of hard once we started having kids. Outside of that, I went on to get a degree in sociology, which I have yet to use. I'm always diagnosing people though, but I don't use it to get paid in the workforce. I have 4 boys. Wow. Yeah, so many boys. And then our dog is male, and we recently rehomed a cat, but up until recently our cat was male, and then there's my husband. I am the only woman in my house. Wow. Yeah. I got 2 brothers. I have 5 brother-in-laws. It's just not in the cards.
So what I'm hearing is fun things. That's what I'm hearing.
Yes. Yes. So I'm always welcome to opportunities when other women are involved. Like, yes, please, let's do that. Yeah. Outside of that, my oldest kid is 15. His birthday is today. I am having a hard time coping with his facial hair and his need to obtain a driver's permit and wanting to have girlfriends and things like that. And then my oldest one is 3. So there's my youngest one is 3. So there's a huge gap there. Outside of that,
similarities.
Yeah. Outside of that, we're just coping with not having our household goods here in this new duty station. So that's always fun, trying to get entertained without our things. Yes, yes.
How long? So you guys just recently moved here?
Yes, Father's Day, and it's actually a month today that we've been in our house. And no word on our household goods. I'm beginning to think that I probably just imagined having household goods all together. Maybe we don't even have any household goods. Maybe I just made the whole thing up. I don't know.
Welcome to Hawaii.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh wow. Yeah. So what was that like? Making that decision, because you said you were active duty at first, and then once you guys started, having your family and stuff like that, I'm pretty sure at some point you had to have a conversation about what steps were going to be taken to continue on with your family and also your guys' career. So what was that like for you?
Well, we pretty much played rock, paper, scissors to see who stayed in and who got out, and I won. So not really. My mother was our family care plan. When you are dual military or when you are single parent military, they make you have a family care plan. And that's pretty much like, hey, if you deploy or if you need to be gone for long periods of time, you need to have somebody who can step in and look after your kids for you so that you can complete the mission, And my mother was that for us. And she had some health issues coming up towards the end of our first enlistment. And we just decided that that had been our only family care plan option. And once she couldn't be that anymore, we didn't have anyone else. So I didn't so much get out as I just finished up the enlistment and just chose not to re-enlist. So.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, we both got out. We actually both got out. We were looking to do new careers. He was going to join the sheriff's department in San Antonio for Bexar County, and I was going to join, get this, the fire department. I was going to be a firefighter, and he found out on the news after he had taken all of his testing that the sheriff's department actually went on a hiring freeze. He heard that on the news. Nobody even called and told him. He was waiting for a school date. Yeah. And I took all the testing I took the written testing for the fire department, and I was about to move on to the next phase when I found out 2 things. One, I learned that I'm a little bit pyrophobic. That's not going to be helpful. Me running into a building trying to save you. I can't get in there. I probably should have known that before, and I didn't. But then also, I learned that I was pregnant with our second kid, and so I wouldn't have been able to do it right then anyway. So,
Gotcha.
Yeah. He got back in, and I just started the process of putting on a whole bunch of different hats. So.
Okay. So, we also wanted to hear more about your book. If you could give us a little backstory about that.
Okay. I've been writing my whole life, ever since I could write. I love storytelling. I'm a storyteller. That's not a liar. It's two different things. Just throwing that out there. And I guess I just been writing stories my whole life. And every so often I would say to my husband, man, I really want to write a book. And I guess one day, probably like year 7 or 8, he got sick of hearing it, because men are fixers. They want to fix things. And so one day he said, how about you stop complaining about it and just write a book already? And I was like, I can't write a book. And he was like, why? And I was like, oh, didn't have an answer for that. So I did. I wrote a book. I have one book published, and it was published in 2017. And I've been writing other ones ever since. And so it is called Something That's Ours. And I write fiction. So it's just a general fiction story about a woman who pretty much loses everything and how she comes back from that.
Okay.
So
and that's
was there like, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Was there any, I guess, anything that like influenced you writing that type of book?
I don't think anybody ever wants to. Well, I don't know. Maybe some. Most people never really want to hear, oh, she wrote a story about me. But I think that there probably was, not specifically one person, but I think in several of the women that I've, met and made friends with and let go of, for whatever reason along my journey, each one has inspired me in some way. And they probably all came together to create one character, different attributes that we see in ourselves, things that we love, things that we don't like so much. So not one specific person, but yes, there's been an influence of several, different women. And one day I think I was just, I was listening to a friend vent about something going on in her life. And I was so, sympathetic for her. I prayed for her, and I felt like there was nothing else I could do. And it had me thinking, what would somebody do in this situation? And then after that, imagination just took over and, fictionalized it and made it into, a whole story. But that's pretty much how it turned out.
So, I was going to say, hearing you kind of talk about your husband stepping in and kind of saying, hey, you can do this, and obviously having that support. So what was it like when you completed the book? Like when you were like, hey, I accomplished this, when at one moment you thought you couldn't do it, and then actually completing that process, what was that feeling like?
That was honestly the greatest feeling. I think that we put so many obstacles on ourselves. I think we are really the ones who hold ourselves back the most. And after he kind of squashed all those excuses for me, it was like standing just vulnerable in front of the world, being like, oh yeah, nobody is telling me that I can't. I'm the only one saying that I can't. And so I had to push that in me, to really say, well, what is stopping me? And then I think that that's when we look inward and we see why we hold ourselves back on certain things. And when we really want something, what will we do to accomplish it? So, I wrote a fiction story, but I really learned a lot about myself in the process.
Wow.
Yeah. And
was there a moment that you thought about quitting, or, where it got a little tough for you?
Oh, yes. I think that there were a lot of times I honestly prayed my way through writing that book. There were some times when I would get to a place and I'd be like, oh no, what happens next? I think a lot of people think that when you write a book, or they think this about authors, when you write a book, they know what the story is and they just start writing. They write it to completion and then they get it edited and then they get it published. But it doesn't always work that way. I had an idea for a story and I started writing the idea. And And it was like driving in the fog or like in a thunderstorm. You can really only see a couple feet in front of you at a time. And I would have to trust that, okay, well, I'm going to write what I know right now. And when I get there, then I'm going to just wait and see, what comes next after that. So I really told myself the story, or the story told me the story. The character told me the story. And I just kept showing up every day, several times a day, middle of the night, early in the morning, to write. And the story unfolded as I showed up to write. But if I had just sat there for years and thought, oh, what should I write about? It probably never would have come. So it's just that belief in myself that I could do it.
I mean, I think that's awesome, especially being a mom of 4 boys,
yes.
a military spouse, and having to take on a load, while your husband's at work and away at times. How long did it take you to write your book?
Fun fact, this first book only took me like 7 months to write. It took longer to get published than it did to write it. Of course, it is a super short read. It's 116 pages. It's not very long, but the other works in progress that I've been doing since then have taken longer. They're a little more lengthier, so that's probably why. But yeah, it didn't take me too much time to write it. But I knew that if I tried to like stretch it on, and we always seek perfection, and some things get really close to it. But the truth is, on this side, we're not going to find it. Mm-hmm. So if I had tried to say, oh wait, I'll wait until this is perfect, I'll wait until this, then it probably still wouldn't be done. I just had to get it out there. So,
all right.
Do you have a certain creative process that you go through?
It's called madness. Yeah, it probably starts with, ooh, this idea would be good for a story. And I grab a notebook and I jot down, my ideas, and then I try and write it, and then I get interrupted because I have a whole bunch of things going on. I got kids. I am also an in-home childcare provider, not currently because we just got here and I'm in the process of doing all that. But I ran a daycare out of my home, with our other, few duty stations. And so sometimes I would write during nap time. I would get up early in the morning, right before work, before the kids got there. So I would write, and then I would run out of ideas, and I would say, oh man, this would make a horrible idea. I can't come up with nothing else. And so I would try to write something else. And then the idea for the first one would come back and I'd run back to it. I would get ideas when I wasn't ready, like in the shower or making dinner or driving. I would not get ideas when I wanted to. If I was sitting there saying, all right, ideas come, and it wouldn't come. So yeah, I would say that it's totally madness. I don't think that I have a process. I think that a process just kind of finds you, and you're just open to it when it happens. So mind your own business, sitting down. Oh, idea. Oh, find a pen, find a napkin, write it down. You just got to be open. I don't know.
Oh, I get it. So, from what I've seen, the book is kind of like a faith-based book. So I was wondering, for you personally, how has, your faith helped you in terms of your experience as a spouse, and even as an active duty service member through through the years?
It definitely makes everything manageable. It does. The book is faith-based, but I also wanted everybody to be able to relate to it. And so it's not like, preachy or anything else like that. You can certainly tell that there, are Christian views in there, but it's a story about bad things that happen, to any kind of people, and how, you can get through that. It's a heartbreaking story. It really is. And I wanted everybody to know that faith-based people, we don't just, have a all the time positive life, and that like things don't happen to us. Things happen to everybody, in this world. We will have troubles, it's really just how you deal with it. And so I think that a lot of the stories in that realm that I had kind of heard of were kind of like real sugar coated, and oh, if you just live this way, then these kind of things will happen to you, and these kind of things will elude you, and that's not true. Things happen to everybody, and it's just pretty much all about how you deal with it.
I like that. So I guess, what is one thing you would tell yourself if you could go back? Because you said it took you about year 7 or year 8 when your husband was like, finally, like, just write a book. So if you can tell any younger, the younger generation, for those who, aspire to be an author and they just still have that doubt, like, no, or just continue to wait, what advice would you give them?
Don't hold yourself back. That's what I would say. Don't think that you can't do something. Nobody is born an expert. You got to start somewhere. You just got to start with what you have and do what you can, and the experience will come. It'll all come, but you can't just expect to say, oh, I like this and I want to do this, and then hop into it and then fail a couple times. You will fail a couple times, but it's not really failing. It's all trial and error. But if you don't keep going, you're not going to accomplish it. That's with anything in life. That's with the hobby that you have, that's with a career that you want to get to the top of. That's with any kind of, relationship that you go through. You don't start off as an expert. You got to keep going. And resistance does not mean that you're not on the right path. And I think that sometimes the obstacle of resistance can make us feel that way. It makes us feel like, oh, maybe I shouldn't be doing this. Maybe I shouldn't be married to this person. Maybe I shouldn't be, no, it just, that's how it shapes us and molds us into who we end up, becoming. We got to fight through the obstacles. And the main one is ourselves. So.
Do you think your experience, you said Army, right?
Yes, ma'am.
You're as a soldier. Okay. As a soldier. Oh my God, you just made me feel so old. Do you think your experience as a soldier helped you in some kind of way in terms of writing the book, or just even like just in going forward, like through any? Because I'm sitting here listening to you talk about obstacles and overcoming them, and I know there's a lot of like team oriented skill building skills and stuff like that. Team building skills that you guys kind of push, and so I was wondering, has that had any effect on you?
Yes, it has. I hadn't even thought about that until you brought it up. Like I said, we joined basic training straight out of high school, and like I had we decided to do it, and we joined it, and we did, and I almost had no doubts and no fears about it. I just did it. Now that I'm older, sometimes I think, I cannot believe I took my butt to basic training and joined the Army. Like, oh my gosh, what was I thinking, because that sounds, in hindsight, like a scary thing for like somebody fresh out of high school to do. So I think that experience showed me, yes, I can. Yes, I can do things, if I can do boot camp, I can do this. If I can do boot camp, I can do that. So it kind of started there, I think, for me.
Mm. So are you and your husband, did you guys come from military families?
Yes and no. We both had grandparents who were in the military, but not like immediate family. Okay. And it was never like, drilled into us or anything else like that. It's not like we didn't plan on it at all. One day somebody suggested it, and actually my grandfather, after we graduated high school, my grandfather pulled aside my then boyfriend and had a little talk with him, and he was like, hey, you want to take care of my granddaughter, pretty much like, what are your intentions and how are you going to take care of her? And like, what are you doing with your life? Threw in his little, how he was in the Army and he did this and he did that. And if he pretty much wanted to take care of me, then like maybe this was a good start for him to do. And my grandfather actually believed that he would show me that what intentions my boyfriend really had, and that if he fled, then it wasn't meant to be, you know? And he said, yeah, okay, I'll join. Yeah. And so then when I learned that, I'm like, oh no, if he joins and he hates it or like whatever, he's going to forever like compare that to like me. And I was like, well, what am I doing? Like, I had been accepted into college, but I had like no scholarship money, no money. Wasn't sure what I was going to do, how I was going to pay for it. And so I was like, well, shoot, if you're going to join, then I'll join too. And we knew we wanted to be together, but they had a buddy system anyway. You know, if you're married or if you join with a cousin or a sibling, you know, then they kind of keep you together. And so we're like, well, shoot, let's just get married now, so that we can, you know, stay together through this whole process, since we were going to do it anyway, eventually. That's kind of what we did.
Okay. How did your parents take it? I know you said your granddad said that, but were your parents and his parents like, oh, okay, yeah, go join the army? Or did they pass out?
No.
And then get married.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Oh, they were really shocked. I think it's one of those things where like you call somebody's bluff and like, oh, they're not going to do this. And then we did. And they were like, hold on. Like nobody was ready. Nobody was ready. It shocked everybody. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I met a young lady who was joining the Marines, and I was like, she was like still in high school, and I was like, so, you know, what was it like when you told your parents? She said, oh yeah, my mom is still not talking to me. I said, yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all. That does not surprise me at all. And so,
oh man,
I think that's one of those other things that you can't let people hold you back from. You know, we had a few people trying to talk us out of it. Not even just collectively, but individually. His family saying, hey, you know, don't go chase that girl. Like, you have your whole life. And, you know, same for me. And, but it's one of those things where it's like, okay, you don't want me to run off and join the army, but are you going to take care of me? I'm an adult now. Are you going to pay my bills? Are you going to pay my way through college? Like, what are you going to do? Like, you don't want me to do this, but I need to make this decision, you know? So sometimes you just gotta jump.
yeah.
Step out on faith.
Yeah. Watch those wings. Learn how to work out of faith.
16 years, right?
A whole lot of
y'all,
faith.
Yep.
Y'all proving it right, though. I mean, y'all proving everybody wrong. I mean,
Yeah.
for 16 years.
Yep.
What advice you can give for any of us military spouses trying to reach that?
I know, right?
So as a military spouse, I absolutely want to say, yes, you know, we got the job of like, you know, taking care of the family. We're the rear detachment, you know, we hold down the fort, and that's great. But that does not mean that you are not still an individual. I'm a wife and I'm a mom. I'm a friend. I'm a daughter. I'm a sister, but I'm also me, you know, and I want my kids, even though, you know, I'm home a lot, you know, with a lot of the work I do. I want my kids one day to be like, you know what? My mom wasn't home, but man, she did this and she did that. Man, she wrote books. Like she did this. Like, I don't want them just to remember me, you know, for what I did for them or what I did for other people. I want them to remember me for what I did for myself, because ultimately we're teaching the next generation that. You know, we're teaching them chase your dreams. You know, we're teaching them to, you know, go for it, to take risks. And we're not teaching them if we don't do anything. So whatever it is that you want to do, you know, you want to write a book, you know, you want to learn to dance, you want to rollerblade, you want to, you know, join the bomb squad, fire department, whatever you want to do, go for it. Do it. Don't hold yourself back, you know. And yeah, there may be some, you know, may be a little bit delayed, because, you know, the schedule of a military spouse is, you know, we got to kind of work on our service member schedule, but we can still be an individual, you know. Like, I still write. I get up in the morning, I stay up late at night, and in between I still have like my other duties that I do, but I still have to find time to be me. I am still an individual.
Go ahead, girl. Yes.
Drops mic. Boom.
Exactly. See, Mary, if you want to jump out of that plane, you could go jump out of them planes. Go ahead, girl.
I could.
Go ahead, go skydiving.
Yeah. I mean, make sure your SGLI is straight before you do that, definitely. But but yeah, go for it.
Wow. That's some great advice, Monique.
Thank you. I think I needed to hear it too, as it was coming out of my mouth.
It's so easy for us to like always give that advice, but then you can't take the advice that you're giving. Yeah. It's so easy,
right? That's what, like it always works like that. Yeah.
But we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up, Monique. We really appreciate you taking the time out to sit and tell us about yourself today.
Thank you. I don't find too many people who find me interesting as a person. So thank you.
Really?
I mean, I'm probably
I just
wrong,
found
but
you like up the street from me. So we become friends.
Oh yeah.
Okay?
Oh yeah.
Wait, are y'all at the same base?
Yeah, I just found out we're at the same base, but we live in the same housing community.
Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy,
right? Look at God.
Yeah.
And as you continue writing and everything like that, if you want to come on, share more with us, you are more than welcome. Just reach out to us.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome.
So we normally end our shows with the affirmation. You're more than welcome to repeat after Candace, then repeat after me.
Okay.
So we'll go ahead and get started. I just got to emphasize that because everybody be like, they be so confused. So once Candace say her part, then you repeat, and then I say my part, then you repeat.
Got it.
I feel like I got to break that down now.
All right.
Go ahead, Candace.
I am enough.
I am enough.
I have the power to create the life I desire.
I have the power to create the life I desire.
I am worthy of my dreams.
I am worthy of my dreams.
I know that's right.
I am worthy of my dreams.
I am worthy of my dreams.
Well, once again, thank you, Monique, for coming on today. We really appreciate it. Hope you get those household goods soon, girl. And remember, shine, sis. You got this.
Thank you.
You got this, girl.